Hello again. It is still March 11th, 2021. And we said again because we did a recording just a little while ago. So the thing we want to talk about now is, let's put it this way. I was just sitting here thinking that it's so important that humans believe, that each human believes that he will always exist somehow. And it is so important to humans to continue existing in this place for as long as they can. Of course, we're not talking about those who are, suicidal. We're talking about people who are in a state of mind of not being overwhelmed by so much pain that they want to end the pain, and the only way they can imagine it is to die. We're talking about the majority of us find it greatly important to keep existing for as long as we can in this place. And we are absolutely terrified. And I think even the ones who are proponents of these ideas also must be terrified of the idea that what if at some point we don't exist anymore? But here's the thing. Then the question came to me, which was, how do we know we exist at all? Then the question becomes, how do I know that I exist at all? What does it mean to exist? To be. To be what? Where? And if you really think about it, in this place, the only way for us to be aware as humans that something exists is because we can perceive it with our senses. With these particular senses that we have, tell us something. Whatever these senses are telling us, we see something, we hear something, we smell something, we taste something, we touch something. I left one out. I don't know. Hear something. And those are the things that tell us or suggest to us that the particular thing that we are sensing is, quote, real. It exists, and we're able to use those senses to perceive that we exist, that we're real. But what does that even mean, though? What if we didn't have these senses? Would it matter? Or, these are just silly thoughts, but I guess thoughts nonetheless. But yeah, so now the question of, what does it mean to exist? And is there an answer that I have to come up with to satisfy my own need for an understanding of this? Or is there a universal answer that we're all gonna know? I don't think so. Because this is a one-man job. I can't ask the question, do we exist? And then, do I exist? And then seek out other people's ideas of whether or not I exist. I mean, This is it's a one-man job. And no matter what they say, how do you know that that's the thing? It seems like it's one of the things that you just have to experience for yourself to satisfy the answer or the understanding of it. But just to take it a step further, we were thinking, okay, let's just say, since it's really difficult to say what exist means, because if we didn't have our senses, does that mean anything that we can't, that there doesn't exist something that we can't sense with our senses? I mean, it's just, it's a big question. But the question then becomes, if, because we're going there, folks. If, in fact, exist is just a kind of a term we came up with to get some sort of what seems like understanding of where we are and what we're doing in this place. If this idea of existence is just an idea that was formed here by us to help us to gather, do something, then if that's the truth, then what's really happening? Is anything happening? If there is no, because the truth is, I'm sorry, I keep cutting myself off. I don't know. It's a big one. You know, we're going in there, and it's, oh, hummingbird. It doesn't seem like a hummingbird. All I see is, Anyway, it's some bird drinking water that we put out. So the question is, okay, how do I feel about the idea that I don't exist? If all of that is just a fairy tale that we've made up to console ourselves because we just don't know what the hell's up. Well, just like we don't really understand what exist means, really, we know what it means to us, how we've designated this. But if the question is, if the idea here is that that's just made up, then what? And it's so funny because when you just start to peel back these ideas, that one idea that's become very popular now of everything is connected in one whole whatever. There is no separation at all. It's all just one what? One what? Whatever that one is, it's a little bit easier to kind of move into those sort of ideas when you kind of move back away from this idea of I exist, I have to exist, I have to continue to exist. Once we just kind of stop grappling with all those ideas pertaining to existence, it almost is like you start to move into a different type of a understanding of that whole everything is one and separation is an illusion. That's funny because although many of us will say, heck yeah, that sounds terrific, I love that idea, we're all connected, everything is one, there is no separation. However, what if that really implies that you don't exist then? If everything is one, then each individual or a perceived individual part is an illusion. If that's true. Just different ways of the oneness. It's almost like different words for each creation, but all the words are source. All the words are the oneness, that they're arranged in different ways. Not even words, let's say numbers. That feels better. I don't know. They're arranged and they're all unique. But it all still just the oneness. It's just kind of the way it all comes together, the way it's manifesting in this moment. Manifesting, the way it's reflecting back to itself, even something. If I, as oneness, was to reshape and rearrange this unlimited amount of whatever it is, what all can there be? Beingness. How many aspects of myself as the one could become a being? Something like that. And although the beingness of each aspect or arrangement may feel within itself, maybe not all, maybe some only, I don't know, it may feel a sense of individuality, and in a sense it isn't individuality because there's no other arrangement quite like that arrangement of that thing. However, I forgot the beginning. Again, it's all just the oneness. It's a reflection of what I am in all these different arrays of eternal combinations of numbers or whatever the thing is. But so let's just say that, okay, if I exist, I'm one of those numbers. But the idea of fear in there, though, of losing that individuality somehow, and just allowing each number, I'm just using this as oversimplified, but it's all my little brain come up with, all these little numbers that have contributed to this point of reference that I call myself, they all just kind of begin to move apart, drift, not apart, but just drift naturally in the whole flow of all of it, and to become another combination, another unique combination somehow. There is something like that, but there is a resistance with this type of reality that we live in. There is a strong resistance to the reality of that. Talk is popular, a lot of talk about it and stuff, but actually, if we were to take a poll, really, and say, okay, today's the day that your uniqueness stops and you merge back with the all. I'm not sure he's going to. I don't think we'd get a lot of names on our list of yays to participate in that particular endeavor. They'd be like, you know what? I know this guy. I think this would be perfect for him. It's not for me. Then anyway, the truth is that if there is such a thing as human evolution, in a way of just becoming more and more something, organically continue to become something different and unique and enjoyable, I need to make these sentences shorter. Gee whiz. Who cares? You finished the end of that sentence. Whatever you think, just fill in the blank. Just really interesting thoughts, though. Yeah, most people are not going to be wanting to be doing all that. Sounds good on paper, though. And we get that little jolt of electricity, that feeling of, ooh, I came to some kind of awareness. When we talk about it with our friends or whatever, we blog about it, or we post something that we read somewhere about it. That's all fun. But the life of it is not exactly a picnic. And if it's the truth that there is such a thing as human evolution, and it's sort of what we described here, just rearranging the things and we becoming different, that's a good thing, right? Resisting the normal course of our evolution is not going to feel good, because when we go against nature, there's suffering. That's violence, really. When we interfere and not allow, even we look at these bodies and say, this is my body, I can choose. Well, you're still being selfish. I'm sorry, we don't like to judge, but it's kind of selfish because you're not just that part of you that's saying, no, I'm not going to be back. There's more of you, and you're denying your wholeness to contribute to the conversation. See? Anyway. But I don't know, it's a shame. A lot of us have gotten used to the suffering, and it's somewhat easier to stay in it than to move on to the next and the next, and to jump, to take that plunge into something that we have absolutely no idea what it is. That's what scares us. Anyway, we got far away from the subject we started out with. I think it was, do I exist? But they're just things to think about. And if you're a person who feels like, I want to move with nature, then I hope this was encouraging. It's scary, even when we really know it deep inside. Like, yeah, I want to move with nature. I want to, whatever that means, whatever sacrifice I have to make, I will trust, I will surrender. But when it comes down to actually doing that, yeah, it's different, because it's difficult. It's very difficult to start to interfere with these fears that we've built up inside and these reservations that we have. Anyway, that's all. We'll talk about this more. Much love. Bye.